Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to Tel Aviv University International Open Day. This is a session about the Neuroscience M.Sc program, the International Neuroscience M.Sc program at Sagol School of Neuroscience. My name is Orly, and I'm the coordinator of this program. I'm very happy that you're here with us. For the meanwhile, you're more than welcome to write us on the chat, which country are you from? And for the first part of this session, we're going to ask you to mute your microphone. So thank you for that. We're going to present the school and the program. And afterwards, you can ask as many questions as you want. So I'm very happy to introduce you to the academic heads of the program, Professor Dinora Friedman-Morvinsky and Dr. Boaz Barak. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Orly. And welcome everyone to the Tau International Open Day. And yes, we are here to present the program that we are co-heading with Boaz Barak and under the coordination of Orly. I will start sharing my presentation, and I will start, just a second. Okay. Perfect. Let me go back. Do you see it correctly? Okay, so I will start by giving you just a very short glimpse of Tel Aviv University, and then I will dive specifically to our school and to our program. So just a few words about Tel Aviv University. Tel Aviv University is the largest and most comprehensive institution for higher education here in Israel. We are consistently ranked in the top 20 in the world in terms of scientific citations and among the top 100 universities internationally. And that's no secret that Tau is Israel's first choice among the Israeli students. It's also the largest and comprehensive institution. We are located at the heart of Tel Aviv. So this is the second largest technology sector in the world. We are all familiar with this concept of the hub of the startup nation. So that actually represents this university too. Just a few numbers. You can see them also here on the screen. We have a total of 30,000 students. Among them, we have alumni, 200,000 alumni. We have 125 schools and departments on campus, 9 faculties. And I guess the most important number for you, for our programs, that we have more than 2,000 international students. So as you can see, it's a very diverse campus. We actually embrace diversity on campus. We have a very demographic breakdown. We have a lot of students from North America, that is 40%. But of course, we have other international students coming from Latin America, from Asia, from Europe. It's a very big community here. We have even others from Australia. So, and we will be welcoming more students, I hope, this year, and to our program specifically. So if we are talking about international students, let me introduce you to the team, to the Tau International, I would say, department. This is where the student life team comes in to active and to participate in the welcoming you to the university. The student life, we know that it extends beyond the classroom, and here is where students can immerse in themselves in a very dynamic setting of Israeli and also campus life. We have madrichim, also known as coaches, who will, of course, welcome you to Tau and help you maximize your experience here on campus, and of course, also in Israel. What they offer, first of all, you can go and read all in much more detail. They have an amazing website. You can go and just, if you Google Tau International, I'm sure you will get to that link, and we will provide, if you need all these links later on, A few important things about Tau International. First, you have on-campus support 24/7. They also offer orientation days. Once you're accepted to a program, you will have an orientation day that has to do with the program, but also in general on Tau Life and Tau campus. They also help with assistance in housing and medical issues. They will facilitate, or they will offer social and cultural activities, and they will also have excursions throughout Israel. So it's a lot of extracurricular activities and cultural activities that go through the Tau International. So I encourage you to go to their website if you want to get much more information about that. But now, specifically to what we are gathered today, and instead to talk about our program in Sagol School of Neuroscience. And one of the most important things that we try to educate or kind of orient in our school is we are aiming for excellence and leadership in the field of neuroscience. And when I say neuroscience, what do we mean by neuroscience? And here, of course, I'm not going to start defining what is this field. As you can see already in all these bubbles that are here, it has and touches many aspects. I mean, you can put, if you want, the main question on how does the brain work, but in that question there are many aspects you can kind of start to dissect in order to address that question. So we can go for understanding basic mechanisms, we can go and try to ask, or try to understand brain disorders, and try to develop treatments for example, brain disorders or aging. As you can see, the sky is the limit. There's many questions under a very small, I would say short word that is neuroscience. A few words about the school itself. It was established in 2011. Across campus, we have 150 laboratories in 8 different faculties and 17 medical centers. There is full educational studies in neuroscience for undergrad studies in BScs, and then we have different graduate programs for master, PhD, and opportunities for postdoctoral fellows too. Currently, we have approximately 600 undergrad and grad students in our school. Is of course the main things here is state-of-the-art research. That's what we always gonna be highlighting. And of course we offer state-of-the-art research, and we are searching and looking for excellence in our programs. We have in-house research centers, and I will come back to this probably in the next few slides. And I'm not ashamed to say that we are the leading neuroscience school in Israel. And I'm going to show you soon. Here's even actually the ranking of all the different schools in terms of neuroscience. And you can see that we are at the top of this. So more about the School of Neuroscience. I will say that the most important thing that we have, or at least that I as a member can appreciate, is the interdisciplinary nature of the school. And what do I mean by interdisciplinary nature? Sagol School of Campus is across campus. We have many network. It's a very big network that actually embarks with different aspects of neuroscience. We have collaborations between medicine faculty, with humanities, with art, with social scientists, engineering. So that's what we are trying to foster here. It's not just a program that leads you to one specific area. The idea is that you can actually open, go for the whole experience and try to push yourself to understand different aspects of neuroscience from different perspectives. If I'm talking already about this interdisciplinary school, our faculty members, of course, are representing this interdisciplinary aspect, and you will find that our faculty is searching or researching in many aspects. We have every year, since the initiation of the school, we have been recruiting faculty members that are joining. Our members are affiliated, in addition to their own faculties, to the Sagol School of Neuroscience. And this year, I think these are the latest that we have recruited. Now, we mentioned before Megacenters. Here's just one example. We have Megacenters for combating brain disorders. And in these centers, there are different diseases that are being researched. For example, Alzheimer, we have one for ALS, there is Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Just showing you one Megacenter, the Alzheimer's Disease Center. Here, there are really the best researchers in the field are part of this center. They're collaborating, and you can see that these are international renowned names. And of course, those are the options you have. Once you are accepted to our program, you can reach these researchers if you're interested, for example, in this type of research, and be part of their group. In Sagol School of Neuroscience, we not only stay in the academic research, we are also trying to bring our findings to the patient's bedside. So we're trying to translate our findings. And for that, many of our faculty members have opened startup companies that are trying to bring these findings through these companies to the patients eventually, of course. And so there's a lot of incentives trying to foster these collaborations that starts in the academia, and I will show you later on with the industry. Something important that I mentioned before is excellency at Sagol, right? We are looking for excellent students, but we are also producing excellent research. And how do we measure or how we sense this excellence? One of them is by publishing our results or our findings in top journals. And I don't know how familiar you are with science literature, but these are examples of publications in really top-ranked journals. And as you can see, since the school was founded, we are just going up and up and up in terms of publications and the quality of the publications. The other way we can measure excellency is by the funding that our faculty members are able to recruit and bring to the research in their labs. And here's one example. ERC, European Research Council, is a very, very competitive grant. And here we have the largest individual competitive grant awardees in Europe. Our school actually has many, many PIs getting this award, which actually talks and speaks about the research that is being conducted here. In addition, we have the Sagol School of Neuroscience organized many international conferences. We host international conferences here in Israel. Of course, now it looks like it was like ages the last time we have an international conference in face-to-face, but we kept with virtual meetings, and we are hoping to host more and to bring leading researchers from abroad to Israel. So our students are exposed not only to our faculty member, but the top leaders in different fields in neuroscience. I mentioned before the Sagol network that we are also trying to bridge between science, research, and industry. And this is an example. There are many collaborations from our faculty members with established and known industry. This can go through, for example, applying to different grants, the PIs, together with an industry. So the research is already oriented for example, to get a patent and to then commercialize or license, or even some are starting their own companies, right? So you see many, many well-known companies that are working with some of our PIs in the school. Innovation centers. I mentioned before that we have many programs that foster or encourage innovation. That's also something very important to us at Sagol School of Neuroscience. And one example is the MILA Center for Mind and Language. Here, this center, the aim of the center or the program itself is to deepen the understanding of basic mechanisms connecting the mind, language, and consciousness. And I'm sure that if you also Google Mila and center, you will find more information about this innovative center or innovation idea. And the second one that I want to mention is the Phyllis Ryan Mind Educate Center. Also, this is the aim of this center is to create research-based cutting-edge solutions for enhancing human learning, creating a video ecosystem, encouraging new research-based startups. And as you can see, we have different aspects here that are trained or are being exposed in these programs. So again, if you want to read more about these centers, you can Google them, and I'm sure you can find there all the information. So that were a few slides just to introduce you in general to the Sagol School of Neuroscience, but we're here to talk about academic programs. And in Sagol School of Neuroscience, we have a diverse undergraduate and graduate program in neuroscience. In the undergrad, we have biology and psychology. We have another one in biology and biomedical engineering. And we have a program in psychology and computer science. Specifically for interdisciplinary graduate programs, of course, we have a master in neuroscience. We have it in Hebrew for Israelis, but now that's what we're gathered here today. We have one that is international, and is only offered in English. We also have a master in clinical neuroscience, a PhD in neuroscience, and a master in neuronal computation. So these are just some examples. But of course, today we're going to focus on one of these programs of the school, and it's the International Neuroscience Master Program. And I'm going to, again, give you some highlights of the program, but I also encourage you to go to our website. We have a very detailed explanation of all that this program actually offers. And here again, Orly, the coordinator, will be happy to answer to any questions you have, things that we haven't raised today in this short open day. And any question you might have, even academic, she will try to find the answers and consult with us and any others. So please remember that this is only highlights, but you can go and go and find more details on the website. So the program highlights. First of all, what we aim to do here is to expand your knowledge in specific neuroscience areas of research, while enjoying the opportunity to join over 150 laboratories that are associated with Sagol School of Neuroscience. I have to say that some of these laboratories are here on campus, and others are actually in hospitals, for example, they're in the vicinity. I mean, we have also the largest, I would say, density of hospitals that are in the area, the central area of Israel, and they're affiliated with Tel Aviv University. So you can either work here on campus, or you can work in laboratories that are outside campus, but of course, you can come to campus. We are teaching here, hopefully one day back to back in face-to-face, I would say. The benefits of our program is that we will offer you, if you're accepted to the program, and I will come back to this soon, you are exempted of paying tuition, and you will get a scholarship. And I will give some details about that in the next few slides. We, of course, encourage diverse areas of research. We offer you very well-renowned neuroscientists in different aspects of the area. So that will be our highlights. Who should you contact? And this is, of course, already present us. This is the program coordinators and academic heads. It's me and Boaz in the academic head program, and Orly as the coordinator of the program. So please don't hesitate to contact. And at the end of the presentation, I'm sure there is the email where you can send all your questions. So specific details of the program: the length, 2 years. The language, it's is only offered in English. And this is to differentiate from the Israeli program that we have also, but it's a completely separate program and is offered only in Hebrew now. The total credits hours that you need are 30 semester hours, and the program includes mandatory as well as elective courses. And at the end, you need to write a thesis. And once you are accepted to the program, you will have to find a supervisor. You're encouraged, I already sent you many times to this website, but yes, go to the Sagol School of Neuroscience website. You will find all the researchers that are affiliated. And then once you find your areas of interest and your labs that you think that can be of interest to you, you should approach them directly. I mean, in the website, you will see the website from each researchers. You can find the email of the PI, and you need to communicate with them or be in touch with them directly and show your interest in, show that you have been accepted to the program, and then you want to maybe have an interview and hear more about their research in the lab. So there is an option that to start the program without having a supervisor, and that is also acceptable. You can do rotations in the first semester if you want to. Let's say you haven't decided which lab you want to join. There is a difference in the scholarship you can get. It's not really much, but once you are accepted and you want to hear more about these details, we're happy to clarify it for you. But in general, people will search for a supervisor because that's where the lab where you're going to conduct your research in the program. Here are just cool images showing you students doing cool research stuff with very, very interesting instruments. So going back to our program, admission requirements. As I said before, we are aiming for excellence. And so we are looking for excellent students, outstanding students, and I'm sure you are. And that's why you're here. And the average that we are asking for is 88 or above from a bachelor's degree in science or bachelor in other areas that are not specifically in neuroscience. For example, psychology, exact sciences, engineering, linguistics. So all these areas, of course, the important thing is that you need to have an average. If you're international, you will send us your grades, and there's a specific department that will take care to translate those grades into grades that are understandable for our numbers or way of grading in Israel. So don't worry, we will have a way to kind of understand what is your average, even if it's international. Application deadline, this is super important, March 31st this year. So as soon as you think you're interested in applying, do it fast. Go to the website, and I'll go soon to show you what you need to send for application. As I said before, tuition. Once you are accepted to the program, you're exempt for paying tuition, okay? So you will not need to pay tuition. In addition, we offer to those who are accepted to the program a fellowship or a scholarship. This scholarship goes directly to your bank account. So that means you can use that scholarship for your personal use, for living assistance, for paying your housing. We do not get into what you use your fellowship for, okay? It goes directly to your bank account. In terms of housing, again, in the TAU International website, you can get there, you can apply to dorms if you're coming from abroad and you want to live on campus. You can apply for housing, but you don't need to do it fast. There's an application form you need to fill. TAU International will help you with all these aspects of applying for dorms, but don't wait, because there's a high demand for these dorms, of course, and there's also a deadline. So please, if you need more information about that, you can contact us, but the information, I'm sure, is posted in TAU International website. Prerequirements for the program. Most important, of course, you need, as I said, the program is in English. So applicants who are coming from non-English speaking countries or are not native speakers of English, they need to provide proof of English proficiency. Again, once you apply, you send that information, and we have a department that help us to analyze that. And for us, the most important is that prerequisite in terms of courses that you need to have in your syllabus. I mean, of course, when you send us your degree and diploma, we also asked you to send us which courses were part of your program, so you can see that you have all the ones you see listed here. If you don't have them, once you're applying, of course, you can do them online. You can actually do them by yourself if they were not part of your undergrad program. You can get advice from us if you need to do some online courses. We accept courses that are offered by Coursera or other online courses. So these are pre-requirements you need to have, and you can be accepted to the program without them, but you need to have them before the start of the academic year. And usually the academic year starts in October 2022, right? This year. What you need to do in order to apply to the program. You need to complete the online application form, and you need to pay $150. That's the application fee. That's the only payment you need at this point, but it's of course the payment you need in order so we can process your application. That you need to send a CV, you need to send your original transcripts in English, signed and stamped, as well as all your undergraduate diploma. If sometimes we understand that the diploma hasn't, the original one is not available yet, you can tell us, you can write a letter or get some administrative write letter, but it's very important to have the diploma, otherwise you cannot be officially accepted to the program. We need 2 academic recommendations plus email addresses of both the recommenders, the ones who are writing this recommendation, again, and English proficiency results. And for specifically our program, we asked for a PowerPoint presentation and all the information about how to prepare this PowerPoint presentation you can find in our website, the Sagol Master International Neuroscience program. I hope I kind of show you all the details about the program. I'm sure there are many, many other details or questions you might have. And as I said, you can contact us by email, and here is our email. And I encourage you all to go to the website, because the information that I just gave you in a few words, it's much detail in our website. So I guess here I will stop sharing, and I will be happy, and together with Boaz and Orly, to answer to any questions you might have. I don't know if they're in the chat. If you're shy, you can do it in the chat. If you're not shy, you can open your microphone and ask. Any questions? Boaz, maybe I forgot something to say?
No, I think not. I would join anyway.
Yeah, we can say that we opened the program. We forgot to say that actually. We opened the program last year. We got applications, and we have 4 students that already have been accepted and are currently part of this program. So we are hoping that this year we are going to get more applications, more candidates to our program. I think there's a question in the chat. I can read it. Can mathematics and computer science students apply to your program? Yes, of course they can apply. But you probably will have to, if you don't have any background in biology or neurobiology, you will have to take what I said, these pre-requirement courses that you can find online. It can be Coursera courses, it can be other courses that are offered by other international universities. You can send us the syllabus, and then we will go through it and we'll tell you if it's acceptable or not for our standards. But yes, the answer is you can apply, but you will need to, let's say, complete the pre-requirement courses that you might probably be missing from the ones that we are asking.
I have a question. So I'm currently in my 3rd year doing psychology at Rachman University. In order to apply, I need to have the full degree. So I won't be able to apply for this coming year, but the following year I'll be able to apply. Just confirming.
I-
Like anywhere for me to apply for because I'll be finishing at the end of like October or September. No, I'll be finishing June, July. But I'll only have my final grades by then, and that's past the admission date.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know there. If you haven't finished and you don't have all your complete, grades, we will not be able to know what is your average, right? So
Yeah.
I guess that's a problem. We do have some people that didn't have the official diploma by the day of their sending their applications. And we accepted an administrative letter saying, he has completed all the requirements and the official diploma will come. But I think it's not your case, right? It's not going to be completed.
Even if the courses I haven't completed yet are not relevant to the admission, it's still, you still need the GPA, still need the average.
I think we should discuss it with Sagol, because it's just like any program that you apply to your master's degree, you are not necessarily finished with your bachelor degree. So I don't think this is the case here, that we have to have your diploma full when you apply. It must be accepted and full with the bachelor degree when you start the program. And we actually had a student from India this year that when she joined and when she interviewed, she didn't finish the degree, and then she was accepted, and now she got the final degree and everything is okay. Ovi, do you know something about that? If it's possible to apply when you don't have the bachelor finished?
It depends in what part are you in your degree. And if you write in the end and you already have like most of your degree, most of your transcripts, and most of your, all the information that we need to understand if you are eligible to the program or not. So sometimes it can be possible. It should be examined, I think, specifically for each person.
Yeah, so I suggest you send an email to Ori, and then we can check if it's possible, because the logic says you can do that. But once you start the master's degree with us, you have to have the bachelor degree full, which will be the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And there are many questions here in the chat. There's a second one. So basically, a BSc in medicine and surgery can apply? Yes, again, yes. If you have a BSc in medicine or surgery, again, if you're missing, we need to go to your, syllabus of courses that you have done. If you don't have mathematics, for example, you will have, or statistics, you will have to do these courses online, but in theory, yes, it is acceptable. And how do you take school ranking into account when translating GPA from non-Israeli schools? That is not our job. Actually, and as you can imagine, we are not the first international program here at Tel Aviv University. So there's a specific department that what they do is they take your grades, they know from which university is coming, and they do the translation. I cannot explain how they do it, but they're professionals, they know how to do it, and that's their job. So they do it for you, and they will let you know the average will be.
I also answered it on the chat that the specific unit is a certification evaluators, and only after you upload all your the diplomas, the transcript, the CVs, all the documents that you have to upload to your student profile, and after you pay the $150 application fee, then we're going to transfer all the information, and they will do the evaluation, and then we'll know exactly on the Israeli scale where are you at, and if you are if you meet the requirements. That's it.
Someone is asking, I have a master's degree in science. Would you look at the GPA in addition to my undergrad? My master's GPA is stronger. We had that before, I think. We had a student that she has a master, but no, I think we only take into consideration the undergrad GPA. I don't think we included the master in that case. As far as I know, it's only based on undergrad, but we can find out too.
But in addition, it helps us with assessing your ability to do science and so on. So your performance during the masters also helps us in assessing your quality.
Yeah. There's another question: how long does the preparatory course last? We don't offer these courses. I mean, if I understood correctly, the question is not that we are gonna now offer you before the beginning of the academic year courses that you need to fulfill, like mathematics, statistics. No, you need to find them by yourself. You need to send us just, this is the course, this is the one I'm interested in doing. We check it in terms of the syllabus, and if it's appropriate, we let you do it. And you need to send us a proof that you, kind of a diploma or a certificate that you have taken the exam of that course, and that is done.
And because this is online, you can do it in your own time, and you can finish with it in 1 week, in 1 month, in 1 year. So it depends on you. These are online classes.
Just to give you examples, we had applicants from last year that needed the 5 courses of the Prerequirements, and they had no problem doing that. They took the courses online. We accept them to the program very soon after the interviews that we had. And they had time till the beginning of the program to send us all these certificates. They send them on time. And then in October, they were able to start the program. So don't get intimidated by this. I'm sure that if you're excellent students, you can do these courses online. How to apply for a scholarship? You don't need to apply for a scholarship. Maybe I wasn't clear. If you're accepted to the program, you automatically get the scholarship. You don't need to apply. It's part of the acceptance package, I will say. Once you are accepted to the program, unfortunately, we cannot accept all the candidates that apply. But once you're accepted, 1, your tuition is covered. 2, you get the scholarship. And this is a very good scholarship. And again, you don't need to apply for it. You get it automatically. What else? Our master's degree students are extended. Okay, that's you answered. In the event of COVID pandemic, will there be online classes? Wow, that's an excellent question that even Boaz and myself are asking myself. Now, how we're going to teach the next semester? We don't even know yet for the next semester. So you're asking a big question for October 2022. So I can tell you that we try. I think that is the policy of the university. And of course, we are under the guidelines of Tel Aviv University. Wherever is decided there, our school, our program will follow. So if the decision is to do in-person hybrid courses, we will do that. If the whole campus transition to Zoom, we will have to do it. So that's what I can say now. What will happen next year, I cannot predict. This year in October, I cannot predict. I guess, yeah. Any other question? I think I answered most of the ones that were online. On the chat. And Orly has been answering too, so you can also check her answers. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting. I have 2 questions.
Yeah, sure.
One is my background is in economics, politics, and philosophy. So I'm wondering if there's any chance to apply for this program, because these disciplines are very, very different. They have a lot of psychology in it, like in behavioral economics, but they're not very medicine. They're not from this direction. So I was wondering if there's even a chance to apply with my background. And the other thing is I'm still lacking the language certificate, the English certificate, but I'm confident that I do speak English and I do understand the literature. So I wondered if it's possible to hand in the certificate later, or if I need to have it on the 21st of March.
I think that for the certificate, you need some proof of that you cannot take your word, right? I think in the application, but there's so many online. I don't know which are the certificates they're looking. There's first certificate. There's so many things you can do online today to get these certificates. I would suggest you do it, but I'm not sure they can take your word. We can find out, but I think that for an international program, they need a certificate of English proficiency. In terms of the, as I said before, we want interdisciplinary. We're looking for and encourage students that come from different backgrounds to be part of Sagol School of Neuroscience. And so the background, of course, those who have biology, neurobiology, some background in research or these disciplines, it's much easier for them. In your case, you will have to fulfill all the pre-requirements, right, before you are accepted officially to the program. But if you can apply, the answer will be yes, you can apply. But that will be accompanied by more requirements in your specific case.
But we do have labs focused on neuroeconomics and things that can be related to your bachelor degree. So it's not that you have to take a mouse and dig a brain in a biological aspect in order to be in our program. So there are neuroeconomical labs, for example, that can be suitable for you.
Good. Thank you for answering.
Yeah. Where labs are able to stay open during the pandemic so far, the answer, me and myself, Boaz and myself can tell, yes, they are open. We are doing research in the most stricted times. Even at that time, we were allowed to have 1, 2, it depends what type of research you're doing. In my case, for example, and in the same case as Boaz, we work with animals. We have to keep them, alive, and the experiments are running. So we were allowed to, we went down probably to 25%. I think that was the lowest that we had, and we were allowed. So we have to, have 1, 2 students come in, and they were allowed, or we were rotating every week. But yes, bottom line, we never compromised of course, some research, we couldn't do it as in a normal year, but we continue and our labs were open. We never shut down.
But in the last year, for example, when things are okay, and including the Omicron wave, everything was okay, labs were open. We know how to manage with it. And sometimes even if you have to do wet lab studies in the lab and you cannot, then the PI will find things to do on the PC at home. Everything should be fine. Yeah. So that should be a problem or consideration.
And they're asking what are some of the most common fields graduate go into? I don't know to tell. Which field? There's so many labs. It's a very wide question. I would say that everything is open, but I don't know to say.
Leah, maybe you can focus your question specifically.
Yeah,
do you mean what are the topics studied on campus? Do you mean what people do after graduating? Adas is asking how many people can be accepted to the program. It's based on excellency. We do have the fellowships. We're not limited in number. That should not be the problem. Last year we had more applications than we accepted, so we screened out some applicants, but that's not a specific number we have in mind. We can have 4, we can have 40, everything is okay, depends on the applications.
I think we didn't mention this. I think I forgot to say it, but it's in our website that once you send all the application and we find that you are eligible candidate for the program, we set interviews. And I don't know, I haven't mentioned that during my presentation, but we have a set of interviews with the candidates that we select, the ones that are eligible, the short list, I would say, of candidates. And that's why we asked for this PowerPoint presentation. And so we have a series of interviews with all of these candidates, and then we accept the students to the program, right? So it's part of the application process, I would say. So the interviews, they're asking if the interviews are going to be in April. Is there a designated textbooks requirement for studying the pre-requirement that was said courses, and how are GPAs calculated? Yeah, this question comes over and over. For the GPA calculation, again, we have a specific department. I cannot say because for each country probably will be different. They have their metrics. I have no idea how they calculate that. But in terms of textbook, as I said, we don't recommend, we don't post any specific textbooks, and even we don't want to even say, okay, you should take this online course, this online course. We are not biased. We just want you to find the course that has, introduction in neurobiology, you send us the link to that course, you send us maybe better the syllabus, we go over it and we tell you, yes, you can do this one, we will accept it as a pre-requirement for your application. So this has been very smooth with the 4 applicants. I don't think all the 4 had to do pre-requirements, right? I think, I can't remember, but like I said, I remember at least 1 or 2 that had to do all the 5 they didn't have. So it's not a problem, it's possible.
And I remember it was fast, even though they did 5 classes, they did it very fast.
Yeah. What else? I don't know if there's anything we missed.
Following up on Tristan's question about the English proficiency, my first language is English, so I've never needed to take an English proficiency test to get. So do I also need to?
No, I don't think South African. If you're native born in South Africa, no, I don't think you need to prove. It's like Americans don't need to prove you are English speakers. I think you just present your passport. Maybe, I don't know. We can find out.
Yeah, definitely, you are right. If you are from a native English speaker, so you don't have to do it. And
okay, thanks.
And there was a question before about an early answer, I think, about how much is the stipend or the fellowship, and we can't give you exactly the number, but it's more or less what Orly says there. And again, I want to emphasize this because there were many questions around it also last year, that it goes directly, like we said, to your bank account, and you decide what to do with it. It's not that we take from the scholarship to pay for your housing, for example. We don't do that. We don't manage your scholarship. You manage your scholarship and you manage your life, expenses and your housing. So
just like a salary, but in this case, because it's a fellowship, there is no tax.
Exactly.
So it's just like you work in Microsoft and you get a salary. They don't tell you what to use for. So that's the fellowship.
Yeah. Any other question? No? Okay. Great.
But totally, we invite you all to ask questions afterwards if you feel more comfortable, and write me emails. I already sent my email of the program. It's on the website also. I can send it also again here. But please feel free. Just ask anything on your mind, and we can try to help you. If there's no more questions, one more. Yeah, you already, I think, answered that, but please.
We don't have a specific number. Yeah, we already said it's just depends on the quality of the applicants of that year. We will go through the filter process in terms of eligibility and look at your applications. We go through the interviews, and then based on that, we will decide. I don't think we have a limitation at the moment. Are the interviews in person or Zoom? I think most of them were in Zoom, but mainly because all the applicants were not from Israel. I think we'll stick to that also this year. I think we mostly perform these interviews via Zoom. But I mean, if there are people that it's important for them to come and they're in Israel, we can discuss that later on. But mostly we held them in via Zoom.
And we are aware of the time difference, so that we do it in the relevant time for you in your destination.
Oh, this is a good question that we can answer. What do you look for in applicants? That's a very good question. I think if you heard about the program, yes, we're looking for motivation, passion, excellency. Those are, there are many qualities, curiosity, something that drives you, and the interest for the program and the aims that we set for our program, right? I think that's what I can say. There's not a recipe for the perfect applicant. We just, we are all people, we have our experience already here with students. So based on what we know and what we want to hear more, we are exposed as that year. We based on our, from reading your CV, from hearing you present your previous experiences in the area, what you have done in your undergrad, what you would like to do in the future. That is how, all those aspects, I think we get into account for ranking, I would say, the candidates. I don't know, boss, if you have something else to say.
No, that's exactly.
No, I mean, they're asking if there are any special requirements for students from mainland China. I don't think. Same requirements for everyone, all over the world. And yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much, Dino, for all the presentation. And I think for now, we're going to move to Boaz, because we actually promised everyone just a glimpse, a taste of the program. And maybe you can enlighten us about how does the brain control sociability?
Sure. So let's hope everything will work. Looks okay? Okay, great. So I'm just going to give a 5 minutes presentation about the research we do in the lab, trying to understand how do we control sociability. And our aim is to actually study whether we can improve the quality of life of patients with Williams syndrome. And I'll tell you what Williams syndrome is. So the Williams syndrome is a genetic condition. You can see here one patient, a cute girl, and prevalence is 1 to 10,000 successful birth. And what you can see is that she has a specific facial morphology. But what is very interesting in those patients is actually the fact that they are hypersocial. They are the opposite of autism, where we have lack of social interest. In this case, these patients have higher levels of sociability, which is not necessarily a good thing. And in addition, they have many other physical issues and cognitive impairment and other aspects. The condition is caused by a heterozygous deletion of 25 genes from chromosome 7. So here you see chromosomes and you see chromosome 7. There is a deletion of 25 genes in those patients, leading to lack of proteins which are critical for the development. And we know that these genes are responsible for the brain function deficits in the brain, but we didn't know why is it specifically that these deficits occur. So we know that the missing gene is responsible for this, but we don't understand why this deletion is leading to these deficits. And what we see when we look at those patients, we see that they have increased social behavior, they have increased anxiety, they have cognitive impairment, as you see here, and they have motor disabilities and other phenotypes. Now, we didn't know why is it that the deletion of those genes lead to these deficits that we see here. And because of that, physicians didn't know how to treat in order to improve these deficits. So in a research we did, we found that the brain has a layer which helps in connecting brain regions between themselves in order to be well synchronized and to execute proper behavior. And what you see here are connections. These are axons, and they are covered by a layer called myelin. What you see here is it's a neuron, and you see an axon here, and you see the electrical activity running from the cell body through this axon. This is the communication that cells, neurons have between each one of them. And what you see is that when we have this brown layer here, which is a fatty layer called myelin, it helps improving the axonal conductivity so that the action potential can run faster and more efficiently. And we know that these neurons have these axons and they are covered by myelin, but we know that this myelin is actually being made by oligodendrocytes, which is a different cell type in the brain. So in a previous study, we identified that in Williams syndrome, there is deficit, there are problems with this layer of myelin, which helps in coordinating brain activity. And what we found is that specifically one of those 25 genes that are deleted, specifically its name is GTF2I, it's not critical for this presentation, but the deletion of this gene from neurons affected, when we did it in animal models, in mouse models as we have in the lab, when we did it, we found that it affected the number of cells that can make this myelin, which you see here, they have lower number of oligodendrocytes that can make this myelin as compared to normal animals. And because of that, the thickness of the myelin is thinner compared to the thicker in the controls. This led to slower action potential conduction through the axon and led to behavioral phenotype of hypersociability. Now, this was the first time that people understood why there is myelin deficit in Williams syndrome. And this was done in animal model. And we also validated our myelin deficits in brain tissue that was donated from individuals who suffered from Williams syndrome. So these data are actually coming from human patients, and in their brain, we found that also in Williams syndrome patients, there is reduced number of these cells that make the myelin. And we know that the levels of myelin basic protein whom is doing this myelin, builds this myelin, is lower in the Williams syndrome patients. And as you see here, this is a real image from a brain of a human patient that you see here, those axons, those cables that can connect between brain regions. And what you see here in black is myelin wrapping this axon. And what you can see is that in controls, in normal people, the myelin is thicker and nicely packed. And in Williams syndrome, you see that indeed the myelin is thinner and is not nicely packed. So what we are doing now, we're trying to put the brain into the normal stage again. And we do that by improving myelin in our mouse model and also now in clinical trials that I'll say in a minute. So what we try to do is to take this myelin deficit, give a drug in order to improve myelin condition, and then we will be able to improve axonal conductivity and put the brain into the right functionality as it should. And how do we do that? We do that by increasing the number of cells in the brain that can make this myelin. So here you see a neuron with this axon. This is oligodendrocyte that make this myelin. And we have in the brain cells that can be differentiated from precursor cells to myelinating oligodendrocytes. So we want to push this process in the brains of Williams syndrome individuals. And we tested the efficacy of such a manipulation in the mouse brain. So we used an FDA-approved drug called clemastine. And we are trying now to repurpose this drug so that it will be used in Williams syndrome in order to improve the myelination in the brain of human patients. And then it will be hopefully properly function. So when we tested the efficacy of clemastine in animal models, we saw that if we look at the outer layer of the brain, of the mouse brain, and we count the number of cells that make this myelin, oligodendrocyte, we see that in normal animals, we have high number. In mouse models for Williams syndrome, which are untreated, we have significantly reduced number of these cells. And when we give this drug that improves the number of oligodendrocytes, we see that now we have normal levels of these cells that can make myelin. And when we measure the thickness of myelin, we see that now it is restored and the thickness is higher than when you don't treat with the drug. And when we did this, we saw that in the behavior, these mice did not show the hypersociability that we measured before in the animal models for Williams syndrome, but now they show normal levels of sociability, suggesting that by giving the drug, we can improve the number of cells that make myelin, normalize myelin, and by that normalize the behavior. And nowadays, we are doing a clinical trial in Sheba Hospital, which is one of the 17, I think, hospitals that are associated with Tel Aviv University and Sagol School. And we assess the efficacy of this drug on real human patients, because what we know from the brain of human patients, we know that their number of these precursor cells is normal, but the number of these myelinating oligodendrocytes is lower. So we know that if we will give the drug, we might be able to push these oligodendrocyte precursor cells, which are normal in their number, and increase their number so that they will become a differentiated myelinating oligodendrocyte and will make this normalized. So nowadays we are studying Williams syndrome patients in Sheba Hospital. We assess their motor deficits and signal conduction properties in Sheba Hospital. And the next phase will be to assess this drug on 30 patients 6 years and older, and we will compare their properties before and after the manipulation, the drug administration. And we will assess if it improved the cognition, social properties, ADHD aspects, and anxiety. So that was just a small way to show the study from the genetic condition as measured in animal models and how we translated it to the clinical trial, and all of this in Sheba doing nowadays, and hopefully we will have some good news on that. So if someone has any questions on that, I'll be happy to answer. If not, I think we will wrap up here, right, Orly?
Any questions? We're going to just see if someone want to ask something. So thank you very much, Boaz. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I noticed in one of the graphs you showed in those with Williams syndrome, you had shown that for the corpus callosum, it was even worse than for the cortex. I just found that very interesting. I was just wondering, is that because that's connecting the two halves of the brain, and that's also what's connecting different cortices together.
Right. This is a very heavily myelinated network. So this is why you see the severe deficit in this corpus callosum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good question.
So thank you very much, Boaz, for presenting us just a glimpse of your research. And I just want to thank you, everyone here who joined us today. I want a big thank you for Professor Bobinsky and Dr. Barak for helping us here today. And I just want to just remind you all that the registration will be closed on the end of next month, on the March 31st. So please, please, please don't wait for last minute. Please upload all your documents to your student profile. If you have any questions about how to do it or what to upload there, please contact me directly and I will gladly help you. So hopefully we're going to see you during this process and maybe next year. Take care for the meanwhile. Stay safe and stay curious and very brainy.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Oli.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.